Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, folks, welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and today we got he's from Louisiana, but from the West Coast, Lee Rudin of RUDIN Law. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to confuse you right now, right? I'm from the East Coast. I live in the Gulf Coast, and I'm coming to you live from the West Coast. How about that?
Awesome. We got 3 states covered.
There you go.
That's awesome. So you're in Napa Valley, right? What do you do in Napa Valley?
I am at the 8-Figure Firm Accelerator Conference. So I'm part of their consulting group. They do conferences 3 times a year. This one happens to be on sales, and it's in beautiful Napa Valley.
Man, that sounds great. And Napa Valley, I think, got affected by some of these wildfires too, right? What does it look like?
Look, I've never been up here before, at least in this part of Northern California. So as far as I can tell, it looks the way it did. I mean, it's beautiful. The weather's perfect. You know, it's beautiful. It's warm right now. It gets a little brisk for a zip-up sweatshirt and some jeans at night, so you can't beat it.
Oh, nice. And the wine, I'm sure you've maybe tasted a little bit of wine.
I think that begins this evening into tomorrow. I got in at some ungodly hour last night, especially when you consider that I'm coming from 2 hours later. So I said, let me have a beer, have some food, and go to sleep.
All right, good. All right, perfect segue. Latte with a Lawyer. So how do you get started every morning? What's your morning beverage of choice?
My morning beverage every single morning is cold brew, no sugar, half and half. So I've got one right here, ready to roll.
Excellent. I thought you were going to tell me a latte. Very few people actually have a latte, even though this is a Latte with a Lawyer. But
it's a lot of milk, frankly. A lot of milk.
You're right.
I drink a lot of coffee. I try to go half calf because I drink so much of it that if I had full cups of caffeine every time, I feel like my heart would stop at some point. So we're gonna go half calf, cold brew, half and half.
All right, good, excellent, good. All right, so with all that caffeine in your body and you're ready to roll. Tell us about your practice. What do you do?
Sure. I am a personal injury lawyer based in New Orleans. I'm licensed in Texas and Louisiana. So we have work across both those states that we keep in-house. We also have files basically all across the country at this point, and we partner with firms because my mentality is if I can help somebody, if they want my help, I want to try to help them in whatever capacity I can. And if that means I got to find a partner or find a referral for them, I want to do that because, in the end, this is a people business. And if people say, that guy Lee, he did me right, or he got me to the person that did me right, that's a win.
Excellent. So your shirt says get rude. So tell us about that.
Sure. Well, easy, right? My last name is Rudin. And, I have that Northeast New Jersey attitude. And when I was toying with different ideas of what to do for brand, because brand is so important in this space, it's the way you are known and become memorable. I would ask people, hey, Jonathan, you tired of getting pushed around by insurance companies? And they'd do what you're doing. They'd give me a little smirk, a little wry smile. And then I'd look at them and say, then you should stop being polite and get rude. And then when I got the chuckles, I said, I think this is going to work. And so far it has. I mean, I've not told somebody about what I'm doing and my space. And then I'm like, oh, that's going to take off. There's one lady at the gym, an older Jewish lady at the JCC that didn't like the back of my shirt saying, stop being polite and get rude. She said, oh, you should be nice to everybody. I said, I'm not nice. It's not be rude. It's get rude. So
that's
anyway,
hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
Very good. I like that. That's good marketing. So what flavor of PI? I mean, I know you're PI, but like med mal, auto, premises, what kind of work you do?
Question. The bread and butter are motor vehicle collisions, commercial vehicle collisions, premises, slip and fall, trip and fall, struck by an object at a business. That's the bread and butter. We have a sprinkling of some other stuff, a little bit of workers' comp, a little bit of med mal, when I get those, again, it's akin to what I said before. It's to help people. So I'll find there's some partner firms that I have a direct dial to where I say, hey, I have a med mal here that I think has some legs. You want to take a look at it and see if you want to partner with me? I have a comp case. It may have some legs. I don't handle the comp myself, but there may be a third party liability case that I can pursue. Let's tag team it.
Got it.
And so that's really what we're doing. I'd say it's probably 85%, 80% motor vehicle, 10, 15% premises, and then a sprinkling of other stuff.
Okay. What's your favorite type of case to work on, if there is one?
I have the most experience in the motor vehicle realm, but I'd say it's more challenging to succeed on a premises case in Louisiana. I mean, who doesn't want, if you're in my space, who doesn't want a rear end collision by an 18 wheeler where unfortunately someone's severely hurt, but you have the ability to show them the path forward, meaning we have all three legs of the stool. We've got liability, we've got damages, and perhaps most importantly, we have coverage. Right? Because the worst case, the inverse of your question is someone gets severely hurt, same exact mechanism of injury, right? They get rear-ended, but they got hit by an uninsured vehicle or a vehicle with our minimum coverage, which is 15K. And I tell them the bad news, which is I can't get you but a few $1,000s when the smoke is all clear.
Right.
So anything that we can deliver a result for someone, especially when they've come to us and other lawyers have said no, or other lawyers have screwed the pooch because they just have dragged their feet or they haven't been responsive with communication. I love that because I think people in my industry get a bad rap, sometimes rightfully so, because they're not responsive. And, to every single client, this is the most important thing in their life,
Absolutely.
right? We've got hundreds of cases. And so we look at them all somewhat transactionally because they're all an issue, they're all important, but for that person, it's the only thing they think about, especially when they're really hurt and they're not working. And literally, it's all they think about all day.
Yep.
You got to be patient. You got to understand that.
So in that scenario, you got minimal coverage or no coverage. Someone comes to you. What do? Do you not take the case?
Minimal coverage, I absolutely will take the case. And I will do my darndest to get the money as fast as possible with the least amount of medical bills spent. And if it looks to me like the numbers are going to shake out where my fee would be greater than what they would net, I'm bringing my number at least to even, if not underneath, what the client's going to get. And I'm going to beat up the doctors as much as I can because in the end, we weren't the ones that got hurt. We did provide a service, but the injured person shouldn't be the one left holding the bag if you can do something about it.
Right.
So that's oftentimes my approach. I mean, I have a case right now. It's a referral from a former paralegal of mine. It's her friend. Their son got hurt. Rear-ended, star goalie, soccer, high school. Doesn't know if he's going to get to play soccer for his senior season. Not doing well, low back injury. And they've got a decent UM policy, not a six-figure UM policy, but a decent one. And the guy that hit him has a minimum. So I basically told them what they should do to try to tip over the minimum policy. And if they can do it, they get to keep all the money. And if they fail and I got to get involved, then we got to broker a deal. But I'm trying to help them navigate it themselves because they've got the medical documentation that an insurance company should look at that and say, okay, this kid's injuries are worth way more than our policy. They should give this family the money that they're entitled to. And then that family should turn to their own insurer and say, hey, we also believe you should give us this policy because A, we've paid for it for this exact scenario. And unfortunately, our son has injuries that the quantum says are worth more than this policy too. Do I get anything out of that? I feel good about it. There's no monetary reward, but in the end, hopefully this family pays it forward for the benefit of my business, but I know that I can sleep well at night because I helped out these nice people and unfortunately their son. And hopefully he gets better sooner than he thinks because he's a young kid. But I've had a low back injury just like that. And I know it takes time and it's unpleasant and there's always the opportunity for a flare up.
Got it. Can you break the policy like bad faith in any of those cases like that? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, you can pursue. So, like the underlying case, the minimum policy, yeah, you could pursue that individual. But I heard, all of the characteristics of the kid.
Yeah.
My understanding is he had just put all of his savings into buying this car to pay for the insurance. Like this poor kid, he didn't want this to happen, and you're never going to collect from him. All you're probably going to do is attempt to ruin the kid's life, and these are nice people, and they don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
And then on their own policy, as long as the insurance company does what it's supposed to, which is correctly underwrite the claim and pay out timely, there should be no reason to go after them for bad faith.
Okay.
Does it happen? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I don't see the markings in this particular case.
Okay. I just mean in general, do you sometimes get the opportunity to go after the insurer because they didn't respond timely and you get to get what really the case is worth?
Yeah, you know what you
Yeah.
do? I had more of those opportunities when we were handling some hurricane litigation here
Yeah.
after Hurricane Ida. I had about 2 dozen of those cases. That happened a lot.
Yeah.
And the consequences of that were more significant. Like in this case, in auto cases, more often than not, the failure to pay is going to come in the context of property damage repair. And so the consequential damages are very limited. What is it? You have to pay a couple extra days on a rental car, but they're not as significant. If you don't get paid on your house and then you can't repair your roof and then you can't repair your interior and another storm comes or whatever, the damages are more significant. So,
Okay. Got it.
yeah.
Are you seeing just came from a TBI conference. So if you get an 18 wheeler that hits you or a car, I mean, it doesn't take much to have a TBI. Have you tried any of those cases?
I've not tried them. I actually have a couple that are in the hopper right now where one was a fall, two were falls, one was an 18-wheeler accident. And, I don't know how other lawyers operate, Jonathan, but I want to get these people better,
Right.
right? I don't, and getting the proper diagnosis and getting them in front of the right doctors, the neurologists that can tell me yay or nay, that's what I care about because I can't imagine what it's like to have to stay in a dark room, to just be absolutely miserable. So that's our goal first and foremost. And if down the road that plays into a larger result, great. Great
Yeah.
for the client, good for the firm. But on these, especially the ones that I view to be legitimate, we want to get them the right treatment. And I do come from a defense background. And so I've done a lot of research on the other side. So some of the testing that was out there for a while wasn't as on point, in my opinion. But there's new technology out there that seems to really hone in on the markings of
Yep.
these injuries. And so that I love from a legal standpoint and from a medical treatment standpoint.
That's a whole other discussion, but you're absolutely correct about that.
Yeah.
So give me a case that you've worked on that's a really interesting one that would be worth sharing.
Sure. I have a couple interesting ones right now. I mean, one of the ones that you and I have been talking about is it's a longtime client, family's a longtime client. Started out, I helped them with an employment case. We knew each other through a mutual acquaintance. That's how they came to me. Then they had been in a car accident going to pick up one of their kids from college. And then more recently, they got rear-ended. Father-daughter who were working together got rear-ended by a commercial vehicle. And the daughter had been in a skateboarding accident years ago, like probably 6, 7 years ago, and it hurt her back then. Was totally fine, asymptomatic for years. And this has really thrown her for a loop. She's already had back surgery. It remains unresolved. She is lovely. She's going to make a great witness. She's 24,
Hmm.
23, now going on back surgery number 2, potentially number 3. I
Hmm.
mean, that's a case where you and I will talk about your services because there's just, because of the lifetime of potential here. And we've got her with the best neurosurgeon in town. I mean, she's a lovely girl. She's got legitimate injuries. She's at the doctors that I've gone to see that I would want my parents to go see. And we're just hoping for the best here. And in the immediate term, it's just trying to get her out of this pain, which is constant.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
that's a good one. Easy on liability, right? Like we have them dead to rights to rear end collision with an 18 wheeler. She left the scene in a stretcher, like complaining of pain right away. So it's going to be about what's the future meds on it, and it's really too early to tell. But the
What
poor girl.
about New Orleans, like a lot, or New Orleans, Louisiana, excuse me, like a lot of these other states, tort reform? How is that impacting the business?
Again, because of where I came from and where I am now, I have all these people on LinkedIn and Instagram that are talking on both sides of the V. I will boil it down to this. If you told me, if you guarantee me that the tort reform is going to result in lower premiums to the people of Louisiana, is going to result in more people getting insurance and having to have insurance and raise our policy limits, right? Because $15,000 for someone that's even moderately injured is nothing.
Right.
So insurance companies that are raking in billions in profits and have shell corporations where they're actually profiting because the big name, the holding company is showing all these losses. Like those corporations and the CEOs show me that you're not getting, multi-millions or billion-dollar bonuses. And then let's talk about tort reform because we just had a round in about 4 years ago and nothing changed. And so I'm all for creating an environment where insurers want to come in and they want to write, but they've got to do it fairly too. And when you beat up on the folks on my side, I think you're just trying to find a scapegoat. And smart people are going to be able to peel back the layers of the onion. Um, but it's not just Louisiana. Go look at Florida. Go look at Georgia. All
No,
these
no.
places where
I
they
mean,
rammed it through.
Georgia just instituted. I mean, how has it impacted the? I mean, you got caps now on things, or they're bifurcating liability and damages. Is that
No, we haven't. None of the tough stuff has gone through. I mean, they
okay?
passed. None of the tough stuff's gone through. They've passed a 2 year statute of limitations last year. Or for us, it's the prescriptive period. We used to be one. I think that the insurance companies, the defense bar thought that was a good idea. I do think it's going to lead to more settlements before litigation.
Yep.
I also think that an unintended consequence for the insurance companies is that now we can treat for 2 years. We don't owe them any sort of opportunity to examine the client. I mean, we don't have to do any of that. We can if we want to be forthcoming and present them as an open book, but we don't owe that obligation. So I think there's a risk there for the insurance companies that now lawyers can work the case as they wish before the insurance company ever has an opportunity to see a plaintiff, see a claimant.
Yeah.
Um, they have a bunch of stuff that they're trying to pass, and I think some of it may be well intentioned, some of it may be insurance company funded. But again, show me the line between the proposed legislation and how it benefits the consumer as opposed to benefiting the insurance company and harming the people that are out there trying to help the little guy. And then I'll come to the table and talk to you. But until then, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Um, so let's roll the clock back. How did you get started? And tell me why you became a lawyer.
I so I didn't grow up in a family of lawyers. The only person in my family that was a lawyer was my aunt. She was a corporate lawyer. Nothing that she did was something that I knew about or envisioned as a young person. But my dad was an accountant by degree, but never by practice. He had a different opportunity coming out of school, and he took it. And he always instilled in my brother and I, go be a professional. Because when the markets go up and down and job loss occurs, you always have your degree to fall back on, and you can hang your own shingle and do your thing. My brother's a dentist. I'm a lawyer. So, and I'm a sports fan, a huge sports fan. So I saw Jerry Maguire and said, that's what I want to do. I want to be a sports agent. So I went to law school and I ended up going to Tulane, who had one of the preeminent or has the preeminent sports law program in the country. And while there, I sat through a seminar and I heard Andrew Brandt who was at the time, I think he was the GM of the Packers, but he had been an agent before that. And he's telling a story about an athlete who calls him in the middle of the night and says, "Hey, I need some money." And he says, "What do you mean you need some money?" He said, "I need money." And Brandt says, "All right, go to the ATM machine." And the guy says, "What's an ATM machine?" And Brandt says, "You know the machine outside the bank where you plug in numbers and put a card in?" He's like, "Okay." Gets there, puts his card in. He says, "What's my PIN?" And Brandt's like, "I don't know what your PIN is. Like, did you get a number from the bank?" So anyway, the long and the short of it is that he was describing that being an agent, while there's some fun negotiating and being a lawyer, there's also a lot of babysitting. And
Yeah.
maybe not dissimilar to some aspects of what I'm doing now. But after hearing that, I said it probably would be smart to go become a lawyer, learn how to be a lawyer. You can always pivot back into a sports organization or an agency because you'll have the skills that they would need. And, I've got a ton of contacts in the sports world because a lot of my classmates and friends are in that space. So if I ever had a dream to go back in, I'm sure I could, but I'm really happy doing what I'm doing now. I love it.
Okay. So New Jersey to New Orleans, that's because of law school. You stayed there.
Like I went there for college first.
Ah,
The day
okay, okay,
before Katrina was my first day of freshman orientation.
okay.
And so we were there for a day and then evacuated. And I spent 6 months at school in New York and then came back in January of '06 and I've never left. So I've
Oh,
been
wow.
in New Orleans longer than I was ever in New Jersey.
No kidding. So
Yeah.
what's New Orleans like now, post Katrina?
Look, I didn't really know New Orleans pre-Katrina.
Well,
You hear
I
from the
guess you're
locals
right.
how Yeah. You hear from the locals about how different it was, but I mean, I saw a lot of the renaissance of New Orleans post Katrina, a lot of new ideas and new investment. The city got hit pretty hard with COVID. We're a tourist economy. A lot of these, I see it recently, a lot of restaurants that made it through COVID are closing. See some of these stalwarts because they know we have the summer coming up, and the summer is notoriously slow.
Hmm.
Not a lot of tourism. A lot of locals go out of town because it's very hot. It's sad and disappointing to see businesses in town unable to sustain themselves. But we don't have the corporate base like a Atlanta or Houston or any of the Floridian cities. And I think that goes back to maybe our government statewide, like we're not doing the right things to bring folks in. We had a flourishing film industry, and then we changed the tax laws, and they left. And it was great for the economy. It was great for the people.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you cut off your nose to spite your face.
So what is the big industry there besides? I mean, I know music, right? It's a big music city.
It's
So,
tourism. It's
yeah.
tourism. We have obviously the petrochemical and the oil and gas industry is big, but
Yeah.
probably Houston's probably bigger. But you look from a downtown office building up the river, down the river, and all you see are refineries.
Hmm.
They call it Cancer Alley, so toxic tort litigation is pretty high. But we do tourism well. I was telling some folks here, I said there is no better place to have a convention, to have a Super Bowl, to have a big event because our stadium is downtown. We've got more hotels than you know what to do with. We've probably got, if not the best cuisine in the area, the best restaurants in the country. It's only second or third to LA and New York, and it's way more accessible price point and locale wise. So you can't beat it. And I don't think anybody that's been to a lot of these other cities for big events would dispute that because people
Hmm.
love coming to big events in New Orleans.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since I've been there, but I've always enjoyed my time, my trips there.
Got to come back.
It's a fun place. I'm looking for a reason to come back there.
I know you are.
All right, so this is good stuff. How long you been at this? I mean, how many years you've been practicing law?
Sure. I've been at this, I think I'm going on year either 13 or 14. I've lost count. My firm, we launched RUDIN Law on June 1 of 23. So we're about to make in the next 2 weeks, we'll make 2 years. So we're shooting for 2 million in revenue in year two. That's the goal,
Okay,
which
good.
would be like that would double up year one, which is not a bad number to start a firm. You have to hit seven figures in year one. But in the end, it's all about helping people. right?
Yeah.
The number of clients you can help, that's a number you can track. The revenue you generate, that's a number you can track. But a lot of them, they walk hand in hand. The more people you help, the more people they share your name with, and the positive stories and the Google reviews and the testimonials.
Yep.
And so the more of those I can acquire, right, that's the social capital, and that tells me that we're doing something right, no matter what the profit and loss statement says.
Got it. So what's the plan? What's your goal for the firm?
Honestly, I'm at this eight-figure firm conference. I've never known, said this to my wife and some folks. I said, I've never known to do anything but to the best of my ability. And in a law firm like mine, especially being new, that means help as many people as you can, right? Don't turn away the case just because it's a small case. Sometimes you take ones that are loss leaders. You don't make any money, but you help somebody, and hopefully that referral down the line is, pays back that sweat that you put in.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing. We're trying to acquire as many clients as we can, and many people that see our brand, see what we're doing, and say, I want that guy's help, I want that firm's help. And if down the road we can be more discriminating and say, oh, we're only going to take cases that are catastrophic, well, that means that we've done right by a lot of people that we can, have that good fortune. But for now, we're open for business. We want to help. Come call us, and if we can, we'll help you. And if we can't, we'll try to find someone that can.
Okay. But when you say we, it's just you solo. You don't have any partners yet? I know you have staff.
I I have a fairly substantial staff. I have a meeting on Tuesday to bring a guy in that's licensed in a couple different states than me.
Okay.
I brought a guy in recently who is based in Texas. So that's more of at the moment, it's more of a contractor relationship, but it seems like it's going in the direction of a more long-term commitment. So I'm looking to put the pieces together that make sense and not just grow for the sake of growing. So, where I have to add lawyers because we have cases in litigation that cannot be handled by me alone, I'm going to do it. We've been adding staff, team members well, in the area, but also across the globe, because that seems to make the most sense for the kind of work we're doing and the stage of growth that we're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good steps. So you're going to grow. You're young. You're going to grow the firm. Okay, good. And you're
Yep.
staying in New Orleans. You're not going back to the Northeast.
I haven't gone back yet. I have no desire to go back.
Okay, good.
I'll go back to visit. That sounds good.
Got it. All right.
That sounds
I'm
good.
with you.
But I could always open a satellite office up there.
You can do that.
Run some New York, New Jersey cases, have a reason to go up more than I'm going up now.
All right, good. So I hear taking care of clients, doing good stuff. What do you think your superpowers are? Like, what makes you a good lawyer?
I'll use it as I guess it goes both ways, right? I am no bullshit. I have no patience for nonsense. So I don't know what other lawyers tell their clients. I know what I tell mine. I want to tell them, I want them to know everything. I want them to know it straight because I feel like that allows them to make the most informed decision, and it's their case, right? Ultimately, if they tell me I want to settle it tomorrow, I'm going to do everything I can to settle it tomorrow. I might tell them I think it's a bad idea and explain to them why, but if it's their call. And I think that bluntness, transparency, honesty, that's allowed me to build relationships with adjusters, with opposing counsel, with mediators. So they know that when I tell them something, I'm not just blowing smoke. And if I tell them we're going to file suit and we're going to, run it as far down the line as we have to, they believe me. And if I tell them this isn't a case that we should settle it. Hopefully they take that honesty back to their client and say, you know what, this lawyer's being reasonable. He thinks we should get this done. It's a good business decision. And then they come with an offer that's fair to my client and we get it wrapped up sooner, which is really what everybody wants.
Got it. Otherwise, they're going to get some rude.
That's it. Otherwise, we got to get rude.
All right, good stuff. Technology, you're leveraging technology to be efficient. It sounds like you probably are.
So we are leveraging virtual staffing, which necessitates leaning on technology. Because I came out alone, I had the opportunity and out of necessity, I was exploring all these different tech tools.
Yeah.
So, and even in the time I've been out, so 2 years, the evolution of the demand writing, the AI tools to summarize medicals. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
awesome. And I think that as long as you understand it for what it is, meaning it's a tool and it requires scrutiny, like as long as you understand that, anybody that's not using it is going to find themselves way behind, even in the next weeks and months.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just booming. I mean, particularly on the AI, like document management stuff, writing um, motions, demand letters, just basic documents. I mean, if you're doing that by hand or with a paralegal today, you're right. You're way behind.
This is what I would be worried about. Now, luckily, I'm on my side of the equation and not the other side. If I were working at an insurance defense firm where I was, my model was based on widgets created, hourly billing. If I had that and a lot of what I was doing was summarizing medicals or drafting discovery, I'm assuming these insurance clients are saying we are absolutely not paying you to summarize medicals anymore. Put
Hmm.
it in an AI tool. We'll pay this much money for this many pages. That's it.
Yep.
That would worry me.
Agreed. Yeah, I saw some recently. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, they're so sophisticated now. You get the best AI scientists creating these products. Yeah, I mean, it just makes you much more efficient.
And that's what it is, right? If it saves you hours, I'm not saying you still don't have to put in an hour to revise a demand that something created for you. But before you might have had to spend 5, 6 hours just getting it into the form to then go revise it. Now it's so expeditious. It's very impressive. But there's a lot of technology out there. You almost need somebody on your team that's just monitoring all the tools, sitting in with the vendors to see
Yeah,
really what's at the cutting edge because there's so much and everybody's got a new toy and there aren't
absolutely.
enough hours in the day to sit with people.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, good. I'm glad to hear that. I figured you were probably leveraging that kind of stuff. So just to sum it up here, what do you want to leave with the audience, about your firm and the best way to connect?
I think I said this to you offline, right?
Yeah.
If anybody that has a problem, so I'm in New Orleans. One of the best things about being in New Orleans is so many people, their friends come down to visit, whether it's a bachelorette party, they're down for a big event, a conference. God forbid you find yourself in trouble, you get into that Uber or Lyft accident while you're visiting, give us a call. I make it really easy for people. So we own the trademark now to stop being polite and the trademark to get rude. Our phone number is 833 get rude. All right, 833-438-7833. And our website is getrude.com. So you can email me at lee@getrude.com. But it's really not that hard to find us. So if you need
Excellent.
us, please give us a call. And if we can't help you, we will find you somebody that can.
Excellent. You didn't buy that number from Joey Numbers, did you? Get rude.
I don't even know who I actually bought it from, but I know through the weird daisy chain how I got it. And I think we negotiated a pretty darn good deal to get it. So I'm really glad I have it.
Okay, because I've met some of the folks that actually sell these numbers.
Yeah.
It's quite a racket. It's quite a business.
I know one of the guys that sells numbers too. And when I talked to him about it, he's like, no, that's not a good deal. We're gonna beat him up. So he kind of helped me, but he's a good man. So I really do appreciate it.
Anyway, yeah, we can talk about that. It's actually a funny business, but yeah,
Yeah.
you got a good one. So you're off to the races. All
I'm
right,
trying.
everybody. Listen, thank you, Lee Rudin Law, and this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform that helps guys like you get ready for mediation trials with our analytics platform. Thank you very much. I'm going to let you get back to eight figures and making money.
We're working on it, Jonathan. I appreciate you having me.
You bet. All right.